welcome to the Mastering Social Media for Schools podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you this week. We've got a very special topic with Lauren Snell chatting a little bit about when trolls attack. Okay, and dealing with that on a school level. Lauren is from Cherry Creek School District. It's a very large district in Colorado, and they had a really challenging experience that she is so eloquently going to share with you. What happened, basically what they had to deal with, and then what were some of the changes that she made going forward to try to help mitigate or minimize the negativity that might happen. And after we hit done recording with the episode, Lauren said, I should have shared this in the episode, but we had another pretty large issue happen after this initial one. And instead of getting thousands and thousands of negative comments and things to deal with, we got about 50. So what we're telling you is that the advice you're going to get today from Lauren, it works. Okay. So she's going to talk about how they monitored social media, how they got information out to the community, how they worked with the media to get information out, and then again, what she did to put in place so that it would help in the future. So I am so excited for you to meet Lauren. Before we get to this week's K-12 PR tip, which we always start out with a little K-12 PR tip at the beginning of every episode. But before I get to that, just reminding everybody out there, social media for schools. I can teach you just so much in every little podcast episode, in every little blog I write. So I actually wrote a book, a big book on social media for schools, proven storytelling strategies and ideas to celebrate your students and staff while keeping your sanity. The thing that I love most about this book is it actually comes with a workbook for you to take action as you read it. And this definitely has just a lot of case studies, take action item notes, and real advice from real people and things that work. And so I hope if you haven't bought your copy, check it out. Social media for schools, anywhere books are sold. All right, let's get to this week's K-12 PR tip. All right, this week's K-12 PR tip is all about kind of moderating and managing some of the comments that come in on your social media pages. On Facebook, you actually have this thing called Professional Dashboard. And Professional Dashboard gives you an opportunity to have moderation assist, which is a really cool tool that kind of allows you to not accept and automatically show comments made by a profile that's only been around for 7 days or less. If it doesn't have a profile picture, okay? If it contains certain words, right? If it contains a link. There's all of these things within Moderation Assist that can help you moderate your comments. It's one of the best things about this new Pages experience that issued a few years ago through Meta, through Facebook. But I just got a phone call a few weeks ago, and someone had put in the blocked word list into that Professional Dashboard Moderation Assist, and their assumption was that those settings carried over onto the school Instagram account. It does not. It looks really similar to being in Meta Business Suite, but the Professional Dashboard is actually just a part of Facebook. It is not a part of Business Suite that applies to both your Facebook and Instagram page if you have them connected. So this is kind of like a public service announcement because she's like, I bet I'm not the only person that thought that. So once she was dealing with the situation she was in, it was a pretty vulgar comment about a student. Once we shared where in Instagram you can go into your settings and you can put in that blocked word list on Instagram, but it's actually on your Instagram account, not through that same spot that you go through on your Facebook account through Professional Dashboard. So that's my tip today. Check those out. Check out your Moderation Assist. Make sure your settings are correct there. And also go into your Facebook settings and you can look at how you're monitoring and managing your comments. There are some things that you can proactively do to help minimize some of what we're going to talk about today. So now let's get to this week's interview with Lauren Snell. Welcome to the podcast. How are you, Lauren?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Can you believe we're like full-fledged into this new school year already?
It's crazy how time flies. Summer went by like that, right?
I know it always does, and then we kind of
Yes.
wonder where it went. I'm really excited to have you join us today, and I'd love to start out with just a brief introduction of, who you are, and then your role as public information officer and social media manager for Cherry Creek School District.
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. I actually started as a journalist for about 10 years. Did that. I traveled the country. Of course, that's kind of how the things that's how it goes in journalism. You kind of have to go where the job goes or is. And I kind of at the end of my career in journalism, I did a lot of social media focus. I worked on the station's website and the social media platforms for news station. And then, and as a journalist, you kind of have your own social media as well.
Yep.
Grew that substantially. I also had a YouTube page. And then I went into education and I love it. I love getting to work into schools and seeing the growth in our students. It's just amazing and then getting to showcase that on social media. So I work as a public information officer, and so I connect with media and I showcase like positive stories on that end, and then I also do the district social media and showcase all the amazing work that our students are doing on social media. So that is a little bit about me.
So, how long have you been in school communications?
This is my fourth year
Fourth
in
year.
school. Yeah, school communications.
Okay, awesome. And tell me a little bit about Cherry Creek School District in Colorado there.
Yeah, we have about 53,000 students, 67 schools. We're the fourth largest district in Colorado. Our Instagram account, I'd like to say, has the most followers of any school district in Colorado. And I feel like that's where most of our followers and community is on Instagram and Facebook, obviously, too. But we really try to focus on our Instagram community more so than Facebook and X and LinkedIn and things like that.
Okay, 53,000 students. That's amazing. Where are you located then in Colorado?
We are in South Denver area,
Okay,
in Greenwood Village, Aurora, a little bit of Denver. Yeah,
okay, all right. That makes sense. I guess I just,
Arapahoe County. Hmm.
okay. Big district. And what does your communications office look like, Lauren?
We have a team of 10.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And then you do the social media. Tell me how social media fits into your role, what channels you run for the district. You already said Instagram is kind of your primary channel you're really focused
Yeah,
on.
Instagram's our baby, and then we have Facebook and then LinkedIn. We do have X, but we're not really using that.
Okay.
We also have a TikTok account, but we really just use that as a finding trends, and we don't post on that either. So,
Okay. All right. Good to know. We'll have some of those channels or most of those linked up in the show notes so that
yes, that would be
everybody can
great.
take a look. Now, do your individual schools, do they have their own social media channels?
Yes, a lot of them do. Most of the elementary schools just have like a PTCO Facebook page. Sometimes they have Instagram, but it's usually run from their PTCO because they're trying to get like fundraisers and announcements out. But our high schools, we have six major high schools, big high schools. One high school is the biggest in the state of Colorado. We have like over 4,000 students at that one high school, but they have their own Facebook, Instagram, and a lot of each high schools have clubs and sports that have their own social media channels as well. So
Okay.
it's a lot to try to manage. I mostly just try to help out schools on their accounts, but the sports and clubs, I don't really help them as much.
Okay. So you provide some guidance and maybe
Yeah,
some expectations of what they're sharing on their pages, but
yeah.
you've obviously got a lot to share. Do you get content from those schools? Do you pull some of the content from their pages to go onto the
Yes.
district account?
Yes, absolutely. I kind of, at least once or twice a day, I kind of scour the internet and look at their pages and see like what they're posting. A lot of the times I try to get them to tag us. That's really where we get notifications to know like, hey, we really want this to be put out on the district level. And that helps us share information or even just know about a special event that's coming up that they want us to share. And so that's kind of how I manage our all the accounts that we have.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I wanted to have you on kind of as a special episode today because you shared a presentation I think that you had originally done at the National School Public Relations Association seminar. And last January, you shared it in our membership group, and it was called When Trolls Attack,
Yes.
Turning a Crisis into an Opportunity. And Lauren, my goodness, can our schools feel you right now? Because I was just talking on the phone today with somebody that was kind of under that attack mode, and so I really felt after you presented that I wanted to have you share on this podcast. So, and we do like to focus on obviously positivity, but kind of
Mhm.
today we're going to go there, right? We want to talk about the struggles. So, can you share what where it started in your district and kind of, put everybody at the scene of what you were dealing with?
Yeah, so it was about a year after I had started when this happened. We had heated board forums as it was a school board election year, and we had heated board forums. We had division in our school community in regards to who's going to lead our school board. And there's a group of parents that feel like their perspective isn't being included and don't believe the district is going in the right direction. And so they would contact media with misinformation or even in the larger scale, national media. And there was a particular moment where they felt like we were putting out in our libraries misinformation or uh, what's the word I should say? Books that are inappropriate for our elementary age students. And that was not true. And they put that out in the internet, and the Libs of TikTok took a hold of that. And the Libs of TikTok, they have like 3 million followers. They're out there, right? If you don't know who they are, kind of just do a little research on them. And they started putting out misinformation, and then that led to a ton of hate that flooded our social media channels. Messages, personal messages, as well as just comments on all of our social media posts that we had posted the week prior that had nothing to do with books, right? And it even led to a couple bomb threats at some of our schools. And so that's kind of what happened. And then from that, I have learned so many different things to try to not have that happen again, right?
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah, and we
so
wanted to, yeah, at first I would think that you would like get into the fetal position and be like, "Oh my gosh, make it stop," because that
Well, I
is,
think I might have called you or someone. I emailed you, and I think I emailed Inspra. I was like, "Has this ever happened to anyone?" And I can't believe this is only like a year into my new job. Like, what do I do? But you guys helped us, and I kind of came up with this plan that I'm about to talk about.
yeah. So what did you do? What were some of those strategies to help with some of the misinformation that's out there? Because obviously you get on an account that has 3 million followers, I mean, then they take it as truth and they're
Right.
running with it and saying great bad things. And the worst of all is when there's actually threats made to people, to your locations. So it was a security risk.
Right.
So yeah, so let's walk through a few of your steps that you took.
Yeah, and obviously this might be different for the different sizes of your communication team. But you can do this yourself, or you can kind of assign these things to other members of your team. But I didn't do this obviously in this particular order, but obviously we needed to manage our social media accounts right away. I assigned one person to look over our Twitter or X account because that had the most trolling. And so I wanted someone to specifically monitor that account. We had someone look over our Facebook and Instagram. Those were vital to us because those are the accounts that we have our most community there. Our students are there, our families are there, our like people that live in our communities are there. And so we wanted to make sure that those platforms didn't have the hate that was out there, right? Um, we also had a person on our team to figure out a communication to the media as well as law enforcement to make sure that they're both in the loop so that they don't spread information before we were able to spread the information straight to our community. There was that bomb threat, and they actually, I remember they reached out to media, and media also contacted us. And thankfully, with our partnership with our local reporters, they were going to hold off and not report about the bomb threats until we communicated with our families, which was really helpful. We also created a community letter just letting our families know that this has happened to us and this is the truth. Um, and so they understood what the district was like on what we were doing and dealing with. And some community partners like law enforcement said, "Hey, what's going on with your social media? It looks like you're being bombarded with all these hate and things like that." And so we were able to communicate with them on the situation, what was going on. We created talking points on the phone for those schools that had bomb threats so that if anyone were to call their administrative offices, they had exactly what we wanted as a district to be put out there. And a lot of those talking points came directly from the community letter. So for people that might have missed that community letter, if they had called the school, they would know exactly kind of what was in that community letter. Like I said, we reached out to you um, and other support and advice from NSPRA and other, I believe I called class intercom as well, as far as some advice. I was seeking advice. Like I said, I delegated tasks for our communication team. And then I kind of also, as the manager, checked in to evaluate everyone's mental health because if you're reading and you're scrolling through all of the nasty comments and hate, it takes a toll on anyone's mental health. So I just wanted to make sure, like, are you okay? Do you need to take a step back and not look at social media and what like people were saying about us online? And so that helped a lot. Also, the biggest tips I would tell people is obviously after this experience. So that's what you do in the thick of it, right?
Right.
That's kind of what you do. Now, to prevent that from happening again, I
So before you
I
get to those steps,
oh, okay.
I got a couple questions.
Yes.
So, community letter, how did you get that out to the community?
So we use like Blackboard,
Okay.
and it goes directly to our families that have sent us their emails, and when they sign up their students, their kid, that's how we send out that.
Okay, so it didn't necessarily go out to the entire community, or did you try to give it to like law enforcement or like media at all that so that they
Yeah, I did send it to our law enforcement partners that had gone to the schools to help with the bomb threats,
okay.
to investigate that. I sent the letter to those agencies. And then I also sent the letter to our media partners as well.
Okay, so that way you were able, because yeah, I'm just thinking a lot of schools, you've got your families, but you don't
Right.
necessarily have the greater community. So you were
Hmm.
able to latch onto some of those others to get that community letter out.
Yeah, and some people could even just copy and paste it and put it on their social media to help get the word out to maybe, like you said, folks that aren't a part of the school community, that it
Right.
would go out to more people.
Yeah. And then, you talked about the communication with media and the timing, and you were a former journalist, so you
Mhm.
probably believed on that in day one is creating those great relationships with your
Right.
media, and that's something that shouldn't happen the day of a crisis, right? So you
Hmm.
those relationships built so that when that bomb threat came in, they were gracious enough to just say, hey, yes, we know you got to get information out before we put this out on the news. We'll give you, and I don't know how long they gave you. Did they give you a half an hour or an hour or what was that time frame?
They, I mean, they were very nice and they were very cooperative and they said, let us know when we're okay to share the news or when you want information to be out there. Obviously, that would be different if you don't have the great relationships with media in your local area that like we do, but they understood the seriousness of this because it was a bomb threat to
Right.
multiple schools and you know so that was really helpful. One piece that I kind of forgot to mention is obviously when you manage social media accounts, what I had my people do was read the comments. If there's anything of threat, screenshot it. If it was just and send it to me so then I could forward it off to law enforcement. And then we hid comments that didn't align with our social media policy.
Okay.
That was very, very important. I mean, there was a lot of cuss words, name calling, things like that that had nothing to do with the actual social posts that we had done the week prior. I think the worst one that we had was it was like a job fair that we had posted to like let people know like we need bus drivers and we need teachers or whatever. And that was where a lot of the misinformation and ugly posts were. And so that's where I really made sure that people needed to follow our social media policy. On rare occasions, we would have our communication people like respond because obviously you do not want to engage with these trolls because typically these trolls don't live in your community. They don't have kids that go to your schools, right? They live somewhere else and they're listening to misinformation and they just want to, I don't know, spread hate is kind of what I noticed. And call a name call. It was really disturbing the names that they were calling our teachers and faculty and things like that, that they don't know them, right? They're just taking misinformation and running with it. So,
Okay. So you did take liberty to hide some comments. Did you ever
right.
remove the comments? Like delete
No,
them?
we
Okay.
never removed comments. We only hid them if they didn't follow our social media policy.
Okay. Yeah, and I can imagine how bad those would be. I just want to say, you sought out advice, and that's so important. We don't live in a vacuum. There's so many people willing to help. And sometimes it's not even that, I mean, I don't even know what kind of answer I would have had for you when you called Lauren, but um I, sometimes just talking it through with somebody makes you be able to process it better, right?
Right. Yes. And I got some ideas as to what should I do next, right? This was my first rodeo and I did not know how to deal with the amount of hate that we had gotten. I mean, I'm talking like thousands and thousands of um, terrible posts. So.
Yeah. And did you ever have to take social media offline or you kept it on? You didn't decide to like some people
No,
temporarily
we
deactivate.
no, we never deactivated any accounts. All we did was kind of hold off on any upcoming posts for a couple days. Like we had some scheduled social media posts that we kind of just waited. Obviously, we were able to do that. It would be different if there were some event that we had to have or something that was scheduled, but we were able to just like put a pause on everything and just wait a couple days to post anymore.
Okay, got it. All right. So now you're kind of through, dealing with it on hand. Now you're trying to look forward and be like, okay, what kind of preventative measures
Right.
can I put in place so that
Hmm.
maybe next time it's not this bad or whatever. So do you want to share a few of those points?
Yeah. One of the biggest things was finding truth tellers that could help with misinformation. And so we have a thing called Cherry Creek, no, Leadership Cherry Creek. Sorry, I
Okay.
couldn't think of the name. Leadership Cherry Creek, where it's like adults, either parents or staff members in our community that are really involved and they might be a part of PTCO or I don't know, a part of different clubs for their kids, or they help fundraise for schools and things like that. Anyway, so we collectively asked them, like, hey, if you have social media, if you wouldn't mind, if you see something nasty or wrong on our social media, would you want to like engage and share information that's correct? And our community really stood up and said, yeah, we would do that, no problem. And so these were, like I said, parents, community members, and sometimes even employees that helped us significantly um, share information that was true and help in a need that we saw on social media for sure. So that's one thing.
Okay.
Another thing that we did was, and truth tellers did help us with this, is when we posted correct information or when we shared media stories that were truthful, our truth tellers also shared that as well. So we
Okay.
got a greater reach than just our like followers on our social media. Um,
So you did a little bit of training with them of, hey, how do you get them the right information if you spot something out there that
yep,
somebody's going off on a
yep,
tangent with? But also, hey, if there's great stories on our page, you hit the share button, it's going to help it reach
yeah,
even more people. So this
right.
Leadership Cherry Creek, is it a formal program that you meet
Yeah,
like on a monthly basis or what?
yeah, they meet a month, every month,
Okay.
excuse me, and they learn something new about the district, different
Okay.
departments. But we have this class every year. We
Okay.
call it a class of
Okay.
2025 leadership, Cherry Creek or whatever. Um, but you don't have to have that, obviously. You can
Right.
reach out to your principals and ask them, like, hey, do you have two trusted adults that can be parents or employees that have social media that could help you or help the district put out information that's correct and true?
Okay. Got it. Love it.
Yeah, and then another thing that we really did that helped us deter, you know, other hate from coming to us was customizing the settings to hide keywords and phrases. Um, and with our first incident, that could be like rumors, porn, pedophiles, expletives, like those type of words. And you can tailor that to whatever situation your school district or schools are going through. And so, like with our situation, we were dealing with people blaming or accusing us of having books that were inappropriate for school elementary age students. And so we kind of tailored it to that, if that makes sense.
Okay. Got it. So, yeah, hiding those keywords and phrases and not just letting it sit. I mean, if there's a new
Right.
situation that comes up,
We change it yearly or even month to month, depending on what we're dealing with.
yeah. And again, when you hide a comment, it's not gone. It's still viewable by the person who made it and anybody they're friends with, but it's not that everybody on your page can see it. And so I know that's sometimes a question. We state directly on our social media channels that we manage for the 80 plus school districts we serve is, this is a limited public forum because we do reserve the right to protect our students and staff. Like if they're attacking them, or making threats, kind of like what you said, like that's not going to be okay to just sit up
Right.
on the page, or we're going to be in trouble with those folks, right? So there's a I guess, some logic and that you need to do to be able to protect yourself. Obviously, you always want to talk with your own lawyers, your own legal team, because I'm not a lawyer and I never played one on TV, Lauren. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but
Me neither.
okay, so that's great. So hiding those keywords and phrases. Anything else that you really took steps to help in this situation if it were to happen again?
Yeah, we've been more like aware of emerging news articles um, that didn't that we didn't think we needed to. Like, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, there was like Operation Aurora, Venezuelan gangs. It was particularly to us like
Yeah.
ICE apprehensions that we kind of had to really make sure that we were looking at our social media accounts and making sure that people weren't, you know, not following our guidelines, our social media policies. And that's really important to have. I don't think we had one before I became the manager and social media manager. And so if you don't have one, I would definitely try to advocate to have one. Like zero tolerance for cyberbullying or posts or comments that are political or racist or sexist or abusive, like all those profane and violent and all the things that you don't want on your social media. Definitely have that at the top of your social media. And we reminded our folks during that time, our followers, that hey, if you don't follow this, like we might have to hide your comments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's really important. And as we record this, we're just going into our annual social media boot camp in the
ooh,
membership group, and we'll be talking about all of that stuff. So, if you need some guides for that, that's all available. And Lauren, you're part of the membership group, and so just obviously you got a chance to share in the group, which is awesome because we
mhm.
often learn from one another. But how has that membership group kind of helped you in your role?
Oh, I think it's really helped me come up with fun, trending ideas for social media. Like I see other districts maybe on the East Coast or West Coast do. And obviously our followers don't see that.
Mhm.
But I do because we're a part of the group. And so that's where I'm like, oh, I think our community would really think this reel is fun or funny and really engage with the story or the post. And so that's one of the things I think I benefit the most out of your social media group.
Yeah, and if somebody's kind of thinking about joining, but they're kind of afraid to ask for money, budgets are always tight. And so what would you say to somebody who's kind of nervous to ask?
Do it. I mean, I would just do it and ask any of your administrators, like, hey, is there any way I could fundraise if I need the money or some way to be able to join because it is so beneficial.
Yeah, it's a PD group for the social media aspect. And just like you, Lauren, I mean, you learned by doing with social media in your role with journalism and your news channels. But most of us that get into school PR, we don't have any formal training in schools. And so it's great to be kind of among other
And
people that are doing it.
yeah, and your social media group is just so hyper focused on schools.
Yeah.
And that's so helpful, especially for folks that are new to this role or don't know social media as best as you do. Like it helps tremendously.
Yeah. So as we wrap up, what would you say is your best social media tip?
Hmm. Tag or collaborate.
Okay.
That significantly boosted our followers,
On
for sure.
Instagram.
Yeah, both
Everything.
Instagram, Facebook, everything. Yeah.
Okay. So that's really added and collaboration easy to do over there on Instagram. You've got a
Hmm.
lot of pages, it sounds like, I mean, at your high schools and some of those things. So you're really
Yeah.
able to elevate your storytelling. So I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling, Lauren, that some people are going to listen to this episode and be like, I got to talk to Lauren. So, what would be the best way to stay connected to you?
Probably my email. Do you want me to go ahead and say
Yeah, why don't
it?
you just say it? We'll
Yeah.
include it in the show notes, but if somebody wants to jot it down.
Yeah, my email is lsnell, Snell, at cherrycreekschools.org. Or you can also follow us on at Cherry Creek Schools on social media as well. And I do want to say that I saw this quote and I love it. It's about social media. It says social media isn't just a broadcast tool for schools, it's where communities look for connection, transparency, and leadership. And I love that.
Connection, transparency, and leadership. I
Yeah.
love that as well. We obviously want to celebrate the great things, but it really can make a difference. And so, congratulations on navigating this challenge, but also just celebrating all the great things that are happening in your 57 schools. I'm not sure how you can even stand to sit down to have this conversation, Lauren. It's crazy.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody, if you want to reach out to get some more details from Lauren on her experience, it's just so helpful to have somebody that just authentically shares, Lauren. So I appreciate the vulnerability. It's not easy going through these things, and I always tell schools, unfortunately, it's not if, it's really when
Yeah.
these are going to happen to you. And so
Mhm.
to have some of these as resources, and then now to have Lauren as a friend that you can reach out to if you need to chat. She will have some things to share. And so I appreciate you, Lauren, and thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another great episode. And until then, keep telling those stories. Bye bye.